Today we're going to use this classic ring design to make bracelets and earrings. Hello Live Wires, Heather Boyd Wire here. Today I'm going to revisit our classic rings to make and sell design to create rings, earrings, and a bracelet. I have some new mandrels and gadgets that I'm going to test along the way, and without further ado, let's get wired. Today's featured live wire is Susan. Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing your wonderful bracelets in the 10-day wire bracelets to make gift and sell challenge. I'll link up the playlist of tutorials for the challenge in the description below the video. I'm going to try these wooden dowels that I ordered from Beadalon. They come in quite a few sizes and are great for winding wire for coils. I'll start with the largest size, and I'm going to wind about 20 inches of wire around. I love to make several rings at once when I make this style of ring. Clip them apart so we'll have our base wires all ready to go. Make sure you clip the ends flush, so you'll have to turn your pliers and give the end a little clip. I'm going to use the 6-step bail making pliers to make my first loop on one end, and we are making centered loops. We'll take the end of the wire and turn it to make a closed loop and bend it back a little bit to make a centered loop. I'm going to just flatten them out a little bit and then hold it at the base of the loop and turn it up at 45 degrees. There's a couple of options for this ring. This is a nice style if you want to really hug the bead. We're going to place it back on the mandrel and then put a piece of 20 gauge wire through the bead and through the other side. If you find 20 gauge a little thick, you can go with 22 gauge as well. It works great. It's a nice in-between size, and we are going to continue coiling the thinner wire around the base. You could go around about 3 to 5 times depending on what kind of look that you want. You'll have to tug the wire so there's no slack in the band, and we're going to take that end and wind it around the band on the other side. Again, going around 3 to 5 times, pulling the wire with the chain nose pliers to make sure there's no slack. We want to do even twists on both sides and then clip the ends flush with the nipper tool. Take your chain nose pliers and just give it a little rotate to tighten it up. Put it back on the mandrel, and there's your beautiful ring. You can do them with different size beads. I have 6 and 8 millimeter miracle beads. I have these artistic wire mandrels. There's oval, square, round, and triangular. They're really awesome for making all kinds of shapes. So I'm going to do the same method where I wind it around one of the larger size round ones and then clip it apart to make our rings, making sure the ends are flush. We're going to do a little loop as we did before. We're making the centered loops on both sides, flip it around and do the same on the other side. So make it closed loop and then center it. This time I'm not going to bend them up. This is a more traditional style. This is the style we used to make way back in the 90s when we were selling rings on the streets of Montreal. We're going to put a wire through the bead first and then slide it onto the form. Putting a wire to each side and bending them the opposite directions so it'll be nicely symmetrical. Take away any slack and bring the wire on both sides. Hold it firmly and wind the wire through the band to make your coil. Going around anywhere from 3 to 5 times, making sure you're tugging at the wire so there's no slack. And do the same on both sides. Pull it right around, try to keep your coil tight, and then we're going to clip the ends flush with the nipper tool or flush cutters. Flip it around, clip the other side, Get your chain nose pliers to tighten up that coil and pinch in the pokey end. This is such a pretty classic design. Put it back on the mandrel to shape it, and there we have the two sizes. The one with the bigger bead will be a little bit looser. And there's the finished rings. I also bought this kit with the ring sizer, and there's polishing cloths, buffer, and there's a couple of metal mandrels and a hammer that you can hammer them up to stiffen them a little bit. This mandrel has a little groove for the bead, and you see you can make tons of these rings in one sitting. Great for craft shows. Now I'm going to take some 21 gauge half hard wire to make some earring hooks. I'm going to make the kidney style earring hook. I'm doing both wires at once with the bail making pliers, and we're going to do a hook shape, and then we're going to separate them so we can do a loop. This is where we're going to hang our piece. So it's starting to look like the kidney style hook. And then you want to take your chain nose pliers and just make a little hook. So this one is a closed earring hook, which can be very practical. We're going to clip that end with the flush cutters. And then we're going to take our burr cup wire rounder to soften up the end. And you can soften both the end that goes through your ear and the end of the hook. From here, we're just going to take one of our rings and slide it through, and it'll click into that little loop. It's just a fun little design. Pinch it a little bit with the nylon jaw pliers. There's the kidney hooks, and with the rings as earrings. Now we're going to make a bracelet. It's exactly the same style, just bigger. I bought this cool stencil on Amazon, and you can use that to size your bangle bracelets. So just see which one your hand is going to go through. That one's too big, that one's too small. And then you could compare it to the bracelet template that I'll link up below. You could also measure with a tape measure. There's so many options for how to measure your bracelet size that matches the 8.5 inch. Or you could buy this kind of measuring tape on Amazon. I bought these awesome mandrels as well. The metal one has the sizes on it, and it's great for winding the wire. You can use 10 inches of 16 gauge artistic wire for this design. Just bring it around the mandrel. And if you want to make multiple ones, this is a stepped mandrel. We're going to clip one end flush and take the round pliers and do our loop as we did before. So bring it around into a closed loop, and then we're going to give it a little jog to make a centered loop. From there, we are going to check how much space we need so we could put our beads inside. So I'm just going to slip them in there, and then hold the wire with the pliers where you're going to need your bend. Grab it with the chain nose pliers and give it a little bit of a bend on an angle. Get your round nose pliers and create your loop. So it's the same size as on the other side. Clip the end flush and take your chain nose pliers to pinch in that little pokey end. There's our base. You can put it back on the mandrel to curve it around. You can hammer it as well to stiffen it up. And we're going to stick some 20 gauge wire through about 6 inches. Hold it firmly with the nylon jaw pliers and twist the end around the band as many times as you like. Now we'll add our beads. I did a little pattern with glass and miracle beads and spacer beads. We'll stick the other end of the wire through the loop, and we want to grab the end and take away any slack in the wire. Give it a little wiggle and wind it around the band on the other side. I would bring it around about 5 times. Make sure it's the same on both sides. You can do another little extra to match. Clip the end flush with the nipper tool. Same on the other side. Pinch in that little pokey end. Rotate it a bit if there's still a little bit of slack in the wire. You could put it back on the mandrel to shape it. And there's your super cool beaded bangle bracelet. Sky is the limit with this basic design to make rings, earrings, and bracelets. Thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more DIY wire art and jewelry making tutorials. I'll link up the Bracelet Challenge ebook in the description below the video, and also a free sizing chart for bracelets that you can download. Be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook to share photos of your wire art and wire jewelry. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.